A very good evening and thank you for joining GBS News at 9. My name is Paul Madenge and our sign language interpreter tonight is Alan Kiama. And now starting our first story, President William Ruto today received letters of credence from 8 newly appointed ambassadors to Kenya at State House, Nairobi, reaffirming the country's commitment to strengthening bilateral and multilateral ties. Norway's Catherine Moe pledged support in renewable energy and peace building, while Uzbekistan Katimov highlighted trade and cultural exchange and ICT cooperation. Egypt's Hatem focused on trade and water resource management, as Algeria Farid Wahid Dahmani committed to energy, education, and security collaboration. Mexico's Ludlow emphasized agriculture, cultural diplomacy, and investment, with Hungary's Katalin Nyirati promising scholarships, infrastructure, and health partnerships. Slovenia's Kristina Radej underscored sustainability and technology, and Ukraine's Yuri Tokar praised food security and peace diplomacy. At the center of his agenda, President Ruto assured the envoys of Kenya's readiness to work with their governments for shared prosperity.
Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Kenya, I have the honor to present to you Mr. Farid Wahid Dahmani, Ambassador Designate of the People's Democratic Republic of Algeria. Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Kenya, I have the honor to present to you Ms. Gisele Fernandez Ludlow, Ambassador Designate of Mexico. The President of the Republic of Kenya, I have the honor to present to you Mr. Hatem Yosri Hosni, Ambassador Designate of the Arab Republic of Egypt. Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Kenya, I have the honor to present to you Ms. Catherine Moe, Ambassador Designate of Norway. Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Kenya, I have the honor to present to you Mr. Yuri Tokar, Ambassador Designate of Ukraine.
Your Excellency, Mr. President, it's a great honor for me to present my credentials to you as Ambassador of Ukraine.
Ms. Kristina Radej, Ambassador Designate of the Republic of Slovenia.
Now moving on, Alego Usonga MP Samuel Atandi is facing backlash from constituents who accuse him of sabotaging Governor James Orego's efforts to attract investors to Siaya. The criticism follows Atandi's call for public protest over the alleged closure of Jaramogi Oginga Odinga University of Science and Technology's Siaya campus, which is scheduled on the same day as the country's International Investment Conference. Residents say the timing is deliberate and risks daring key development plans. Let's have a look.
A political standoff is brewing in Siaya County over the future of Jaramogi Oginga Odinga University of Science and Technology's town campus.
I recently received a communication from the Vice Chancellor of Jaramogi Odinga University that they intend to close that satellite campus. And we the governor that because we gave you our votes as residents of Siaya, we want to urge you to stop the idea of using that land to build an office. How many people will eat from an office? We want the university to continue, and we want to urge the governor of Siaya, please stop that idea. That idea is not popular. It is not progressive. It is a selfish idea where you want to build an office for yourself.
Alego Usonga MP Samuel Atandi has called for a protest on September 11th, accusing the county government of forcing the university to vacate its current site.
Kama Mheshimiwa Atandi anataka kuleta university Siaya, Mheshimiwa Atandi yeye yuko kwa budget. Na hapo nyuma ATC tuko na prison. Hakuna kitu prison inafanya katikati ya town. Atandi atoe prison, atafute kiwanja kule Matera ama Barolengo ama aende kule Central Sakwa, apeleke prison huko, achukue university aweke kwa prison.
A case in point is the Member of Parliament for Alego Usonga, and we are very much disappointed to this extent that he is going to the extent of mentioning the name of the governor and misleading the public that the governor intends to reallocate land that is meant for the university to be used in building county headquarters. That is far from the truth.
But some residents say the MP is playing politics. They accuse Atandi of trying to derail Governor James Orengo's investors conference, which is set for the same day. Community leaders argue the demonstration is poorly timed and risk driving away potential investors. The governor has not responded publicly, but pressure is mounting. Critics say Atandi should focus on securing land for the university's expansion instead of staging protests. The row has exposed deeper tension between county and national leaders over development priorities in Siaya. Reporting for GBS TV, I'm Ibrahim Said.
Moving on, universities lecturers in Kenya from 41 public universities have issued a 7-day strike notice threatening to paralyze learning across all public universities starting Wednesday, September 17, 2025. The strike is due to the government failure to implement negotiated and registered collective bargaining agreements, CBS, including arrears amounting to 3.27 billion Kenya shillings and demands for the negotiation of the 2025-2026 CBA. The union, University Academic Staff Union, UASU, has stated that they will not resume work until these issues are fully addressed. The strike follows months of unresolved grievances, including delayed payments, unfulfilled promises, and stale negotiations. The action will disrupt learning activities for thousands of students nationwide.
The strike shall commence on Wednesday, 17th September 2025, and it shall continue until all the issues I've stated are implemented in total. 2.7 billion must hit our members' bank accounts. The 8.8 billion CBRAs for 2017-2021 CBA must also hit our members' bank account. Our members in all public universities and their consequent colleges shall withdraw their labor and shall not resume duty until the 3 issues are enumerated.
Now moving on from the county news, Tharaka-Nithi, the Governor Muthomi Njuki, who also chairs the Council of Governors Health Committee, has raised alarm over what he calls a cartel of doctors diverting patients from county hospitals to their private facilities. Governor Njuki says some doctors are abandoning duty in public hospitals, luring patients with claims of better services in private clinics, and in some cases charging them twice. Njuki has now put medics in notice, demanding strict monitoring, accountability, and a feedback system for patients to anonymously report such cases.
So my question is,
Tharaka-Nithi Governor Muthomi Njuki, who is also the Council of Governors Health Committee chairperson, has sounded an alarm over rising tendency of doctors in the county neglecting their duties in their assigned county facilities, opting to send patients to private facilities under the guise that services offered in the county facilities are substandard. According to Governor Njuki, there is a consortium of doctors that is using government facilities to build a database of patients and diverting them to privately owned facilities with the insistence that they will receive better treatment.
It has come to our notice that of late, in the last few months, our people in Tharaka-Nithi, I'm talking about patients, have been going through hardship that is instigated by our mismanagement of HR issues.
That personnel who are supposed to take care of our patients, and I'm talking about personnel from all levels, some of them, not all of them. We have some very good ones, and we have some who are participating in this very unprofessional, very uncouth behavior and treatment to our patients. We have in all the cadres, including nurses, clinic officers, MOs, or what we call medical officers, and the ones we call specialists. Those who are using our hospital as a platform to poach patients to their private clinics.
Speaking when he made an impromptu visit to the county's Level 5 health facility, the Chuka Level 5 hospital, to inspect operation and doctor attendance, Governor Njuki noted that they were those that were supposed to be on duty, but were nowhere to be seen.
But it has become so uncontrolled and so bad that they spend only an eighth of their time here in the hospitals, and the rest of the time, which is 7 over 8, is spent in their private practice. Yet you're paid non-practicing allowance. We even pay 3 years allowance. And when a doctor is on call, they are also paid emergency allowance for coming to attend to our patients. So our hospitals have almost become ghost because of this referral system. And
consequently, the county head has called for the setting up of a feedback mechanism that will allow patients to anonymously report cases when they are referred to private clinics and find the same doctors who are treating them at county facilities.
We are putting measures in place, and I want a system put in place so that our people know where to complain. If a doctor refers you to their clinic and you go and find out that the same doctor was seeing you here, sent you there, within confidentiality, you need to report that doctor. We will not disclose your identity because that doctor is exploiting you. You leave good theater here, they take you to a backroom theater. You leave a good lab here, they take you to a backroom lab or theater. You leave a good machines here like a CT scan and the X-ray, which is digital, they takes you to a back room. And then sometimes, because they're not able to have good diagnosis, they send you back here and then you take the results back to them. Anybody, any patient who is sent here by the same doctor who had seen them here in their private clinic, when they come back here, they should be able to report so that you can be able to assist them.
Governor Njuki notes that there has been a tremendous investment in the health sector from both the national and county governments, and thus it will be a travesty that some doctors will take advantage of patients. The COG Health Committee chairperson for the Doctors Union to expeditiously address the matter, noting that counties will not hesitate to take stern action against any doctor who will violate its protocols. Susan Nganga, GBS News.
And now moving on, Cabinet Secretary for Cooperatives and MSMEs Development, Wycliffe Oparnya, has pledged government commitment to empowering micro, small and medium enterprises across the country. Speaking at a stakeholders forum today, Oparnya said MSMEs are the backbone of Kenya's economy, creating millions of jobs and driving innovation, and therefore must be supported with policies, financing and market access. Here are the details.
Oparanya noted that many MSMEs have struggled due to limited access to affordable credit, lack of proper training, and have challenges in breaking into formal markets. He explained that the government has already begun rolling out targeted financial programs to address these gaps, while also engaging financial institutions to extend favorable lending terms. The CS emphasized that empowering small businesses was not just about giving capital, but also equipping entrepreneurs with knowledge and technology to grow sustainably. He added that the ministry was working closely with county governments to create supportive environments where MSMEs can thrive.
Mwezi wa Novemba tutakuwa hapa kule Nairobi. Tutaleta nchi zote za East Africa. East Africa tuna nchi 8 ambazo ziko katika East African Community. Watakusanyika kule Nairobi kwa mambo ya market access. Wale ambao hata watu watatoka hapa. Huyu gavana na sisi tutasponsor wale ambao tunaona wana bidhaa ambazo zinaweza kuuzwa katika East Africa.
Kenya's MSME sector contributes nearly a third of the national GDP and employs more than 14 million people. However, many of these enterprises remain informal, leaving them vulnerable to economic shocks. Oparanya highlighted the previous government interventions had fallen short, but insisted that the new strategy was designed to be more inclusive and sustainable.
National government is initiating media market access. Kuona ya kwamba you can also sell in the neighboring country. Now, sell in the neighboring country, you can now also sell even in the European market au kule America.
Oparanya assured stakeholders that the government will scale up capacity building programs, expand access to affordable credit, and open more linkages to both local and international markets. He said the ministry is determined to turn MSMEs into engines of economic transformation, stressing that supporting small businesses today secures Kenya's prosperity tomorrow. Molin Rono for GBS News.
And now, Turkana residents are warning the government there will be, and I quote, no oil without inclusion, end of quote. They accuse authorities of failing to honor the Petroleum Act, which allocates 70% of oil revenue to the national government, 20% to Turkana County, and 10% to local communities. Locals say the billions raised from early oil sales, including over 247 million shillings, have not translated into direct benefits. Community leaders now threatened legal action unless royalties are delivered transparently and fairly, with full commercial production expected by 2028. Turkana insists it must not be left out of Kenya's oil wealth. We will bring you that story as it develops in our next bulletin. But now, it's time for us to take a short break. Keep your feedback streaming into our social media platform at GBS TV Africa. The SMS line is 21144. We will be right back.
Confidence and body image. Confidence and body image is what we'll be talking about today. So I've always been told I'm too short to model. Does height really matter, or is confidence enough?
No. Height, in the world we are in today, height does not matter.
It doesn't.
When it comes to modeling. Actually, leave alone height, even body size doesn't matter.
Even body size?
Yes. Modeling is, it's an open space to express yourself. You know, modeling is visual representation of a brand, of who you are. So it's about you showing up and showing your authentic self. Just that. In the industry, I have experienced, met very short people, men and ladies, and they do amazing. They're really good. It's all about, I think, believing in yourself, that confidence, you know, and knowing you can do it and you need to do it.
Walk an imaginary runway across the room, but do it like you're wearing 10-inch heels and atuna heel. So yeah, pretend do it like you're wearing a 10-inch heel. Haibo. Tuende kazi. Haya, makofi kwake.
Hello, my name is Nyabio. I'm from Mahanim. Called this school a good school because the second my mom saw it, she saw it was Christian based. And when I see Christian based, that's what the character my mother wants from me. And I like the sports that we play for PE. Like sometimes we play table tennis, we can play football, we match, and on Fridays we have games. And we verse the teachers in football. And this is why I think the school is the best school your children can go to.
But what is the problem? The problem, people don't want to hear the voice of Jesus, and they don't want to live through the voice of Jesus. But most of the time, people are living their life of struggling. The people who died before receiving Jesus Christ, the people who died in sin, those people, they will go to the judgment, they will go to the fire, and those people will say that they are dead because they will face the second death, which is the hellfire. People without knowing this, people think that, no, I should do something. No, I need to do something. Why? Because they don't know exact heart of God. They don't know exact will of God. And through this, God allowed His goodness. God allowed the problems in our life. And when God allowed this goodness leads us to
everywhere. GBS.
Welcome back to the bulletin, and now we shift our focus to the international news. And now, Nepal is in crisis after Prime Minister Kadaga Prasad Oli stepped down amid violent anti-government protest. The unrest was sparked by a ban on social media platforms, which triggered mass demonstration led by Gen Z activities demanding accountability and reforms. Protesters stormed parliament and set fire to homes of top leaders, including former Prime Minister Pushpa Kamal Dahal. Security forces responded with rubber bullets, tear gas, and water cannons. The government lifted the social media ban, but tensions remained high. Curfews were imposed across Kathmandu and surrounding districts, and the army was deployed to secure key installations. At least 19 people were killed and over 100 injured in the clashes. Oil's resignation came after several ministers quit, including the Home Minister, who took responsibility for the deaths. The president has appointed Oli to lead a caretaker government. The United Nations, has urged an immediate and transparent investigation into the crackdown, as protesters continue to demand sweeping political reforms. And now, African leaders and climate activists meeting in Addis Ababa have called for a radical shift in global climate financing, urging the world to treat Africa as a strategic partner to a passive victim. Speaking at the second Africa Climate Summit, Head of State demanded investment in renewable energy and adoption projects, with Ethiopia and Kenya leading calls for climate justice and affairs.
African leaders gathered in Addis Ababa this week for the second African Climate Summit, demanding a new global approach to climate financing.
The vulnerability of our member countries caused by climate change, debt burden, and the structural inequalities of the international financial architecture must be redressed through climate justice.
The summit comes amid worsening climate disaster across Africa, drought, flood, and food insecurity, despite the continent contributing less than 4% of global emissions.
The truth is undeniable. No nation can solve this crisis alone. Only through bold, united, and sustained collaboration can we avert climate catastrophe. Isolation is not a winning strategy. It is courting failure.
The Climate Summit must be able to find mechanisms of funding Africa's climate action and development. We need to make the polluters who have caused us this climate catastrophe to pay for it. We need to tax the polluters, we need to tax the super rich to be able to generate the resources and make them pay for the climate plunder that they are causing the continent.
Civil society group pressed for accountability and bold funding mechanism. Activists urge leaders to tax major pollutants and the super rich to fund African climate response. Delegates are expected to adopt the Addis Declaration this week. GBS News.
And now, African leaders are turning to Ethiopia's vast hydropower resources in a bid to meet the nation's growing energy demands. In recent discussions, Kenya's President William Ruto, South Sudan's President Salva Kiir, and Somalia's President Hassan Sheikh Mohamud expressed interest in importing electricity from Ethiopia to power their economies and boost regional integration. President Ruto underscored that renewable and affordable energy was critical for Kenya's industrialization and digital economy agenda, noting that Ethiopia's surplus power could help bridge supply gaps. Rather, his South Sudanese counterpart, President Kiir, emphasized that access to Ethiopian electricity would be a game changer for his country's recovery and development, particularly in reviving industries and stabilizing essential services. Somalia's President Hassan Sheikh Mohamud also welcomed the move, saying that connecting Mogadishu to Ethiopia's power grid will not only ease energy shortages but also foster strong economic cooperation in the Horn of Africa.
It exemplifies the scale and ambition of African-led infrastructure and aligns with Africa Union's vision of continental energy connectivity.
You understand that water resources touches life differently in each country. For some, it's about survival, water security. For others, it's about energy and growth. All these perspectives are valid.
I am also pleased to announce that South Sudan is looking forward to signing an agreement to receive power from the dam.
Now moving on, 2 out of 5 Supreme Court justices tasked with deciding the fate of the former Brazilian President Jair Bolsonaro have found the ex-leader guilty of plotting a coup. But Bolsonaro will only be convicted if at least one more justice finds him guilty. The former president has denied all the charges against him. The first justice to cast his vote, Alexandra, and said there was no doubt that there had been a coup attempt after Bolsonaro lost the 2022 presidential election to his left-wing rival, Lula da Silva. The second justice, Dino, also found Bolsonaro guilty of all the 5 charges against him.
Relação a Jair Messias Bolsonaro.
It wasn't a surprise, but Supreme Court Justice Alessandra de Moraes' 5-hour presentation for guilty verdict against former President Jair Bolsonaro took to the form of a true crime crisis with the same drama. Bolsonaro, he said, had attempted to remain in power at any cost.
Brazil almost returned to a state of dictatorship
because a group of politicians and their allies, a criminal organization led by Jair Bolsonaro, couldn't stand to lose an election. The evidence leaves no room for doubt that all defendants were aligned with the leader, Jair Bolsonaro.
In all, Bolsonaro and 7 co-defendants are charged with 5 counts of crimes against democracy, including planning coup d'etat and the storming of the presidential palace, the Supreme Court, and Congress by 1,500 Bolsonaro loyalties calling for military intervention. The former president was represented by his lawyers.
The case is riddled with flaws, violations of the right to defense. It's full of flaws. The case is null from beginning to end, and I won't back down from saying that.
Perhaps the most dramatic part was the Maurice's detailed presentation of a plan to assassinate him, as well as President Lula da Silva and the Vice President just before their inauguration. The plan was the brainchild of Bolsonaro Executive Secretary General Mario Fernandes, who admitted to have written it in presidential palace.
We are here crying out for justice, and the one who can bring justice to our nation is the Lord himself, our God.
But it's not looking good for the former president if at least 3 of the 5 Supreme Court judges find guilty on even 1 of the 5 counts. Bolsonaro will be going to prison. Reporting for GBS TV, I'm Paul.
And now it's time for us to take a short break. Keep your feedback streaming into our social media platform at GBS TV. The SMS line is 21144.
Confidence and body image. Confidence and body image is what we'll be talking about today. So I've always been told I'm too short to model. Does height really matter, or is confidence enough?
No, height. In the world we are in today, height does not matter.
It doesn't.
When it comes to modeling. Actually, leave alone height, even body size doesn't
even
matter.
Body size?
Yes. Modeling
Right.
is it's an open space to express yourself. You know, modeling is visual representation of a brand of who you are. So it's about you showing up and showing your authentic self. Just
Right.
that. In the industry, I have experienced, met very short people, men and ladies, and they do amazing. They're really good. It's all about, I think, believing in yourself, that confidence, you know, and knowing you can do it and you need to do it.
Walk an imaginary runway across the room, but do it like you're wearing 10-inch heels and atuna heel. So yeah, pretend do it like you're wearing a 10-inch heel. Haibo. Tuende kazi. Haya, makofi kwake.
Hello, my name is Nyabio. I'm from Mahanim. Called this school a good school because the second my mom saw it, she saw it was Christian-based. And when I see Christian-based, that's what the character my mother wants for me. And I like the sports that we play for PE. Like sometimes we play table tennis, we can play football, we match. And on Fridays we have games. And we verse the teachers in football. And this is why I think the school is the best school your children can go to.
But what is the problem? The problem, people don't want to hear the voice of Jesus, and they don't want to live through the voice of Jesus. But most of the time, people are living their life of struggling. The people who died before receiving Jesus Christ, the people who died in sin, those people, they will go to the judgment, they will go to the fire, and those people will say that they are dead because they will face the second death, which is the hellfire. People without knowing this, people think that, no, I should do something. No, I need to do something. Why? Because they don't know exact heart of God. They don't know exact will of God. And through this, God allowed His goodness. God allowed the problems in our life. And when God allowed this goodness leads us to
everywhere. GBS.
Welcome back to the bulletin, and now moving on with our international news. Apple has launched its latest flagship smartphone, the iPhone Air, priced at $999 in what the company describes as a game changer in mobile technology. The unveiling took place at Apple's headquarters in California, where CEO Tim Cook showcased the device to the eager global audience. Here are the details.
Apple has launched the iPhone Air, which is thinner and lighter than any previous iPhone, introduces advanced AI features, satellite connectivity, and enhanced battery life. Apple executives highlighted its new holographic display function, improved camera system, and faster processing power, designed to redefine user experience. During the launch event, the company said pre-orders will be open this Friday, with shipping expected to begin later this month. Tech analysts have already described the device as Apple's boldest attempt yet to cement its dominance in the smartphone market amid stiff competition from Asian rivals.
They managed to squeeze, two capable cameras and the battery life and the A19 Pro inside that device, and a bigger screen than the than the iPhone 17. So you put that package together, and I think it's a pretty compelling design.
The launch comes as Apple faces slowly sales in some markets and increasing regulatory scrutiny. However, the company has consistently relied on innovation and premium branding to drive demand for its products. Previous iPhone models such as the iPhone X and iPhone 14 set new trends in the industry, and Apple hopes the iPhone Air will achieve similar success.
So I think all in all, the pricing today was about what people expected, and in some ways was positive, because what they did is they kept a lot of the prices the same, but up the baseline memory amount, which for Apple is often a big rise in price. And even the Air, even though it's a little bit higher than what the Plus was, has more capability in it, has the Pro level, chip and other stuff. So I think all in all, I think the pricing is pretty good, especially when people were concerned that tariffs could increase the prices.
Apple says it will continue to push the boundaries of mobile technology, with the iPhone Air expected to play a central role in its future ecosystem. Analysts predict strong early sales, with the device likely to shape global smartphone trends in the coming years. Molly Rono for GBS News.
Now from the Middle East, Israel carried out an unprecedented attack against Hamas leadership in the capital of Qatar, which has been a key mediator in Gaza ceasefire talks. Putting hostage negotiations at risk, Hamas said the strike killed 5 members but failed to assassinate the negotiating delegation. A Qatari security official also died in the strike. U.S. President Donald Trump expressed displeasure about the attack. Let's have a look.
U.S. President Donald Trump says the United States military informed the White House of Israel's attack on Qatar as it was underway.
Giving a full statement tomorrow, but I would tell you this. I was very unhappy about it, very unhappy about every aspect.
In a social media post, Trump is distancing himself from Israel's leader, stating the plan to attack was a decision made by Prime Minister Netanyahu. It was not a decision made by me. Last weekend, Trump, on his media platform, issued an ultimatum to Hamas: accept his terms for a ceasefire or face so-called consequences. But the White House press secretary denies Trump was telegramming Israel's operation.
What did he mean on Sunday when he posted, "I've given my last warning to Hamas, etc.? He wasn't talking about this strike on Doha? No, he was not.
U.S. members of Congress were also not aware. One Democratic lawmaker calling the strike on Doha a violation of international law. In a statement, Minnesota Congress Betty McCollum said Israel's attack harms prospects for peace between Israel and Hamas and is further evidence that the government of Prime Minister Netanyahu has become destabilizing force in the Middle East. The attack on Qatar isn't the first time Israel has sabotaged U.S. peace efforts. In June, it also targeted Iran, just as Iranian and U.S. negotiators were set to meet for a sixth round of talks on Iran's nuclear program.
Qatar at this point, and frankly, with individuals that have been part of the negotiating team, this obviously is even further indication that the Israeli government has no interest in any kind of ceasefire.
Reporting for GBS TV, I'm Paul M. Mine.
It's time for your favorite segment of the show, the sports news. Let's get sporty. In tonight's top sports story, a commanding performance by the Harambee Stars as Kenya thrashed Seychelles 5-0 in their final home match of the 2026 FIFA World Cup qualifiers. The clash at Nairobi's Kasarani Stadium saw Kenya dominate from the first whistle, restoring national lead after a challenging qualification campaign.
A dominant performance, crushing Seychelles 5-0 in their final home game of the World Cup qualifiers. The team struck early and never looked back, showcasing superior skill and coordination. Goals came from all areas of the pitch while the defense held strong to secure a clean sheet. The victory ends Kenyans qualifying a campaign on a high note. Achieng Sylvia reporting at GBS TV, Nairobi.
In a tense 2026 World Cup qualifying clash in Uyo yesterday, Nigeria and South Africa played out of 1-1 draw. Zwane struck first for Bafana in the 29th minute, but Fisayo replied just 37 seconds in the second half to earn the Sapat Eagle in the vital point. We have come to the end of the news bulletin. It's always a pleasure having you on board. Let's do this again next time, same channel. My name is Paul Madenge, and our sign language interpreter tonight is Alan Kiama. Good night.
Everywhere